Welcome, my thoughtful friend. Today, we're diving into one of life's most profound challenges, emotional detachment. Have you ever found yourself tethered to a relationship, a moment, or a desire so tightly that it felt like a weight rather than a joy? You're not alone. Life has a way of testing us, often pulling people and circumstances away just as we've grown attached to them. But what if the pain of letting go could transform into the peace of acceptance? What if the secret to emotional freedom lies not in holding tighter but in gracefully loosening your grip? In this discussion, we'll uncover the timeless wisdom of the Stoics, those ancient philosophers who faced life's chaos with courage and calm. Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca weren't strangers to heartbreak, loss, or frustration. Yet they found a way to rise above, not by denying their emotions, but by mastering them. Their words are like a compass, guiding us to a mindset where we can care deeply without being consumed. Here's the truth. Detachment isn't about shutting down your feelings or becoming indifferent. It's about recognizing what is within your control and what isn't. It's about seeing the fleeting nature of all things and finding freedom in that truth. As Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. So, in the spirit of the Stoics, we'll explore 5 practical rules to help you detach emotionally, not as a way of running away, but as a way of standing firm, grounded in your own values. This isn't just philosophy for the bookshelf, it's a toolkit for the storms of life. As you read, I encourage you to reflect on your own experiences. Which attachments have held you captive? What emotional burdens have weighed you down? And how might you begin to let go, not to lose, but to gain? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more insights into Stoicism and the art of living well. Let's begin this journey to emotional freedom together. Rule 1. Embrace the impermanence of life. Let's begin with a truth that's as universal as it is uncomfortable. Everything in life is temporary. Relationships change, people come and go, and even the strongest bonds eventually loosen. It's not a flaw in life. It's its nature. And while this can feel daunting, the Stoics teach us that there is immense freedom in understanding impermanence. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say." This isn't meant to instill fear. It's meant to awaken us. When we realize that everything we hold dear is fleeting, we stop taking it for granted. Instead of clinging to the idea that things will last forever, we begin to treasure them in the moment. Let me ask you, how often have you found yourself fighting to hold on to something or someone? Maybe it was a friendship, a relationship, or even a dream that no longer fit your life. It's painful, isn't it? I've been there too. I remember a friendship I cherished for over a decade. We shared everything, late-night talks, fears, and ambitions. But life happened and we drifted apart. I resisted the change, pouring energy into reviving something that was no longer mutual. It felt like clutching sand at the beach. The harder I held on, the faster it slipped away. It wasn't until I embraced the truth of impermanence that I could let go. The relationship had run its course, and that was okay. The Stoic perspective helped me see that clinging to what was only created unnecessary suffering. Marcus Aurelius would have reminded me, accept that things will end and you will suffer less when they do. So how do you apply this to your own life? Start by observing the impermanence around you. Think about the people you care about and the relationships you hold dear. Instead of clinging, practice gratitude for what you have right now. Let go of the illusion that permanence equals security. It doesn't. Real security comes from knowing that you'll be okay, no matter what changes. When you face the inevitability of change, you don't lose. It's the opposite. You gain the freedom to fully live in the present. You release the fear of loss because you understand that it's part of life's design. And in that understanding, there's peace. So the next time life asks you to let go of something, ask yourself, am I holding on because I'm afraid to lose it, or because I genuinely value it in this moment? This reflection alone can transform how you engage with life. And when the time comes to let go, you'll be ready, not because you've hardened your heart, but because you've softened it with acceptance. Rule 2. Master your emotions with rational thought. Let's turn now to something deeply personal, the battle we all fight within our own minds. My friends, the second principle of emotional detachment is mastering your emotions through rational thought. This isn't about ignoring your feelings or pretending they don't exist. No, it's about understanding them, even befriending them. After all, our emotions don't define us. They respond to the stories we tell ourselves. The Stoics understood this well, teaching us that emotions are not facts but reactions. And with the right mindset, we can take back control. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." It's a simple idea, but its impact is profound. Our minds, not the world around us, shape how we feel. Let me share a moment from my own life. Not long ago, I found myself spiraling emotionally after a small misunderstanding with a close friend. I sent a heartfelt message, expecting a quick and thoughtful reply. But hours turned into a day, and the silence felt deafening. My mind raced with questions. Did I say something wrong? Are they upset with me? That initial worry snowballed into self-doubt and even frustration. The silence had become a mirror, reflecting every insecurity I had. Then, I remembered the wisdom of Marcus Aurelius and the Stoics. I paused and asked myself, what are the facts? The fact was simple. My friend hadn't replied. Everything else, the imagined slights, the fear, the frustration, was just a story I'd created. So I chose to step back, breathe, and reframe my perspective. When my friend finally replied the next day, it turned out they'd simply been overwhelmed with work. My emotional storm had been self-inflicted. This is the power of rational thought. The Stoics believed that our emotions don't arise from external events, but from our interpretations of those events. Epictetus said it best. Men are disturbed not by things, but by the views they take of them. This isn't easy to remember in the heat of the moment, but if you can pause, if you can challenge your initial thoughts, you'll discover how much power you truly have. Imagine a scenario. You're walking down the street and someone you know passes by without acknowledging you. Instantly, your mind begins weaving a narrative. Are they angry at me? Did I do something wrong? Or worse, do they just not care? But what if none of those stories are true? What if they simply didn't see you, or they were lost in their own thoughts? The event is neutral. It's your perception that determines your emotional reaction. So how do we apply this principle in our daily lives? The first step is awareness. Notice when an emotion arises. Don't judge it, just observe it. Then take a moment to question it. What story am I telling myself? Is it rooted in facts or assumptions? Finally, ask yourself, how else could I see this situation? This process won't eliminate all negative emotions, but it will give you the tools to navigate them with clarity and composure. Let me be honest, this practice isn't always easy. There are times when our emotions feel so powerful, so overwhelming, that pausing seems impossible. But that's precisely when it's most important. Remember, you're not trying to suppress your feelings, you're trying to understand them, and understanding brings freedom. My friends, the beauty of this principle lies in its universality. Whether you're dealing with a breakup, a career setback, or a simple misunderstanding, mastering your emotions through rational thought can change the way you experience life. It's not about becoming emotionless. It's about finding strength in the midst of emotion, about responding with reason instead of reacting with fear or anger. The next time you feel swept away by a wave of emotion, pause. Ask yourself, what is truly happening here? And then remind yourself, I control my mind. My mind does not control me. This is the essence of Stoic wisdom, a wisdom that can guide you toward peace, clarity, and emotional freedom. My dear friend, my amazing Stoic companion, we've reached the halfway point of this video. If you're still here, it means what I'm sharing is truly resonating with you. And if you haven't already clicked like or subscribe to our channel, I would be incredibly grateful if you could take a moment to do that now. Your support is a powerful motivation that drives us to keep creating meaningful content just for you. And don't forget to comment with the phrase, I am in control of my mind below. It's not just a statement, it's a declaration that you're embracing each day with clarity and strength. Let the world know that you're stepping into a life of purpose and wisdom. Rule 3. Practice negative visualization. Now, my friends, let's explore the third principle, negative visualization. At first glance, this idea may seem uncomfortable, even unsettling. Why would anyone deliberately imagine loss or adversity? Isn't life already hard enough? But the wisdom of Marcus Aurelius and the Stoics reveals a liberating truth. By preparing ourselves mentally for inevitable changes, we gain the strength to face them with courage, not fear. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, do not waste time fearing death or loss, for they are part of nature's design. Instead, live well while you are here. This insight isn't about becoming pessimistic or morbid. It's about seeing life's impermanence as a source of appreciation rather than anxiety. In a world where change is the only constant, training your mind to accept the unpredictable is an act of freedom. Let me share a personal reflection. Some time ago, I faced the prospect of losing something I held dear, a cherished friendship. My first reaction was fear. What if this bond fades? What will I do without them? But instead of succumbing to worry, I turned to the practice of negative visualization. Each day, I imagined what life might look like if this person were no longer present. I allowed myself to feel the sadness, but I also saw the strength and growth that might follow. When the time came and that friendship naturally drifted apart, I wasn't paralyzed by pain. I had already rehearsed the loss in my mind, and that preparation became my source of resilience. Marcus Aurelius, the emperor philosopher, understood this well. Despite being one of the most powerful men of his time, he constantly reminded himself that all worldly things, fame, wealth, even life itself, are fleeting. He wrote in his meditations, "Reflect on what you have and cherish it. But remember, it is not yours to keep forever." His ability to detach from the transient while deeply valuing the present is a lesson we can all draw strength from. So how can you bring this practice into your own life? Begin by reflecting on the things and people you hold closest. Imagine, just for a moment, a future where they are no longer part of your daily life. At first, this may feel painful, but with time you'll notice something extraordinary, a deeper appreciation for the present moment. This is the paradox of negative visualization. It doesn't diminish joy, it amplifies it. Consider Marcus's wisdom on living according to nature. Just as a tree grows to its fullest potential and then fades, we too are part of this cycle. He believed that our role isn't to resist change, but to embrace it with grace. He wrote, "Nature has designed you to live well, to help others, and then to pass on. This is not a tragedy, it is your purpose." When we accept this, we stop clinging to what cannot last, and we start living with clarity and gratitude. Try this today. Think about a part of your life you often take for granted. Maybe it's your health, a relationship, or a daily routine you love. Close your eyes and imagine what life might feel like without it. Sit with that thought, and then return to the present moment. Notice how vivid and precious it feels now. Negative visualization, my friends, is not an invitation to sadness. It is a practice of strength. It teaches us that life's beauty lies in its impermanence, and in that impermanence, we find the courage to live fully, to love deeply, and to let go gracefully. Rule 4. Focus on what you can control. Let's get straight to the point, my friends. Much of our emotional suffering comes from trying to control things that are simply beyond our power. This is the 4th rule of emotional detachment, and it's perhaps the most liberating one. Focus solely on what you can control and let go of the rest. Marcus Aurelius put it plainly, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This truth is deceptively simple, yet incredibly difficult to embrace. Why? Because as humans, we're wired to want control. We want people to love us the way we love them. We want outcomes to match our efforts. But the harsh reality is, we don't have control over other people or the results of our actions. We only have control over ourselves, our thoughts, actions, and responses. Let me share a personal story. I was once in a relationship where I felt like I was always walking on eggshells. I tried everything to keep the peace, planning thoughtful gestures, avoiding conflicts, even silencing my own needs. But no matter how much I tried, it felt like my efforts were never enough. I was exhausted, frustrated, and constantly anxious. Why couldn't I make them appreciate me the way I wanted? One day, I came across this Stoic principle, and it hit me like a lightning bolt. I was pouring all my energy into trying to control something that wasn't mine to control, their feelings and actions. The truth was, I couldn't make them love or value me any more than they chose to. The only thing I could control was how I responded to the situation. That realization changed everything. I stopped trying to force an outcome and started focusing on what I could control, my own self-worth and actions. Eventually, I made the decision to walk away, not out of bitterness, but out of self-respect. So how can you apply this to your own life? Start by drawing a clear line between what's in your control and what isn't. Other people's thoughts, feelings, and choices? Not in your control. The results of your efforts? Not in your control. But how you think, how you act, and how you respond. That's entirely within your power. Think about the last time you felt deeply hurt or frustrated. Was it because you were trying to control something outside of yourself? Maybe you wanted someone to respond a certain way, or a situation to unfold exactly as you imagined. How much of your emotional turmoil came from clinging to that desire? The Stoics remind us that true freedom lies in detachment from uncontrollable outcomes. This doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop attaching your happiness to things you can't dictate. Imagine the relief of letting go, of no longer tying your worth or peace of mind to someone else's behavior. The next time you're caught in a whirlwind of emotions, ask yourself, am I trying to control the uncontrollable? If the answer is yes, take a deep breath and redirect your energy to what is within your control. You'll find that by letting go, you're not losing power, you're reclaiming it. This isn't easy, my friends. It's a practice, a daily reminder. But the more you embrace it, the more unshakable you become. You stop being a prisoner to external events and find a strength that no one and nothing can take from you. That is the power of focusing on what you can control. Rule 5. Reflect on the bigger picture. Let's get to it, my friends. When we're caught in the grip of strong emotions, heartbreak, anger, or even despair, it's easy to feel like the world is ending. But here's the truth. Most of what we agonize over is temporary, small in the grander scheme of things. The fifth and final rule of emotional detachment is this: reflect on the bigger picture. Marcus Aurelius, ever the voice of calm reason, reminds us, think of yourself as dead. You have lived your life. Now take what's left and live it properly. This isn't a call to nihilism. It's an invitation to put your struggles in perspective. Whatever you're facing right now, ask yourself, will this matter in 5 years? Will it even matter in 5 months? I remember a time when I felt utterly consumed by a breakup. I couldn't sleep, couldn't think of anything else. Every little reminder of the person felt like a fresh wound. In those moments, it was as if my entire existence had shrunk to the size of that one loss. But then, slowly, I began to step back. I asked myself, what does this mean in the context of my entire life? Is this the end of my story, or just one chapter? The answer was obvious once I let myself see it. That breakup, painful as it was, didn't define my life. It was a moment, a significant one, but a moment nonetheless. And life kept moving forward. New experiences, new joys, and even new connections emerged. All of which would have been impossible if I'd stayed stuck in the smallness of that one pain. So how do you cultivate this perspective? Start by zooming out. Imagine your life as a timeline, stretching far beyond this one difficulty. Remember the challenges you've faced before, things that felt unbearable at the time, but eventually faded into the background. You survived those moments, didn't you? And you'll survive this one too. The Stoics encourage us to think even bigger. Marcus Aurelius often reflected on the vastness of the universe and the fleeting nature of our existence within it. He wrote, "Our lives are a mere blink in the eternity of time." When you view your problems against the backdrop of eternity, they lose their overwhelming weight. That argument with a friend, that missed opportunity, that rejection, it all feels smaller, less consuming. But reflecting on the bigger picture isn't about dismissing your feelings. It's about giving yourself the gift of clarity. It's about reminding yourself that while this moment might hurt, it doesn't have to consume you. You are more than this one experience. You are the sum of countless moments, countless choices, and countless possibilities still waiting for you. The next time you feel trapped by your emotions, take a moment to reflect. Step back and ask, what is the bigger picture here? How does this fit into the story of my life? And most importantly, remind yourself that life is always moving forward. You are not defined by one moment or one emotion. You are part of something vast and ever-changing, and there is so much more ahead. By embracing this perspective, you reclaim your power. You learn to let go, not because the pain disappears, but because you see it for what it is, temporary. And in that realization, you find peace, clarity, and the strength to keep going. That is the power of reflecting on the bigger picture. So we've journeyed through the 5 Stoic principles for mastering emotional detachment: embracing impermanence, mastering emotions with rational thought, practicing negative visualization, focusing on what you can control, and reflecting on the bigger picture. These aren't just abstract ideas, they're timeless tools to help you navigate life's challenges with strength and clarity. But my friend, let me remind you of something important. These principles are not about shutting down your emotions or distancing yourself from life. On the contrary, they're about stepping fully into the present, appreciating what you have, and facing change with courage. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Every obstacle is an opportunity to grow. Now I encourage you to take a moment to reflect. Which principles spoke to you the most? How can you start applying it in your life today? Maybe it's learning to pause and question your emotions, or reminding yourself that nothing is truly permanent. Whatever it is, take that first step. It's not about perfection, but progress. And remember, the Stoic path isn't walked alone. Share your insights, your challenges, and your victories in the comments below. Together, we're building a community of resilience and wisdom. If this video resonated with you, please give it a like and consider subscribing to the channel. Your support fuels this mission to bring Stoic principles to life. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Until next time, live with clarity, courage, and purpose.